Hello and welcome to the drivers' press conference ahead of this weekend's Monaco Grand Prix. We are joined today by Daniel Ricciardo from Renault, Charles Leclerc from Ferrari, Max Verstappen from Red Bull, Robert Kubica from Williams, and in a change to the list, Valtteri Bottas has kindly stepped in to represent Mercedes in place of Lewis Hamilton, who, in light of current circumstances, has been granted permission to miss today's press conference by the FIA. So this week, motorsport lost one of its greats as three-time world champion Niki Lauda passed away. Valtteri, you worked with Niki at Mercedes over the last few years. Just what did he mean to you?
Obviously, really shocking news to start the week. For sure, he meant a lot to me, but for every single team member of ours in the race team and at the factory, and he was a big part of Mercedes family. He was a massive motivation for everyone, for myself as well, for sure as a driver, everything he's achieved and with the difficult career he had and all the comebacks and everything, but also as a person, it's been great and never forget many good moments. So for sure, it's not kind of nice in terms of mindset for the weekend, but I'm sure as a team we can turn it into a strength and respect Niki with going flat out on track and bringing a good result.
Thank you. Robert, if I could ask you for your memories of Niki Lauda. You've been around Formula 1 for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. It's, as what they say, shocking news. But he wrote a big chunk of story of this sport, not only as a driver but as a person. I never had the opportunity to work with him, but definitely he was a big racer, and yeah, we'll miss all of us, him, and I think at least my personal hopes were to meet him back in the paddock, but unfortunately it will not happen, and yeah, that's unfortunately part of life.
Thank you. And Max, we saw a message from you on social media yesterday. Any thoughts to share about Niki?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Niki was a legend of the sport. He achieved a lot in his career, but also after his career, he was also a very generous and funny guy as well. Of course, I've never really worked with him, but with the chats we've had and stuff, he's been a great guy, and for sure it's a big loss to Formula 1. So all thoughts go out to his family right now.
Thank you. And Daniel, Niki was in and out of the Red Bull motorhome quite a lot when you were there. Any memories of Niki that you have?
Only good ones. Only good ones for sure. Any interaction I had with him, any brief chats or just pleasantries, just a kind man. I think most of the world who follows motorsport knows him as the racer, for sure, and everything he went through, which was astonishing to say the least. But yeah, my personal moments with him was just always kind, and obviously for a few years, we were competitors, but yeah, never a bad thing to say. So. Yeah, just as the guys touched on, thinking of his family, but the legacy he leaves is pretty amazing, and for sure we remember these good things.
Thank you. And Charles, 2 of Niki's championships came with Ferrari. What does Niki Lauda mean to you?
Well, I didn't have much chances to speak with Niki, but the very few times I've been speaking with him, he has been extremely nice to me and was always very disponible. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Available?
Available, yeah, sorry. Available and also very humble for what he achieved. So yeah, I think he's a great example for the sport in general, and he will be missed a lot.
Thank you very much. If we look ahead to this weekend now, Charles, we'll stay with you. This is your second time racing at home in Formula 1, but first time in the red of Ferrari, so it must be a special weekend ahead for you.
Yeah, home Grand Prix is always a very special weekend, and even more this weekend, obviously, coming here in full red with Ferrari, with also a chance to have a very good result. So we'll push. Obviously, we've had a difficult start of the season. The low-speed corners weren't great in Barcelona, but normally Monaco is pretty different. We'll try to turn the things around. It's not going to be easy, but we'll give it everything.
Thank you. And Valtteri, moving on to you. You've never actually been on the podium here in Monaco, but with the start to the season that Mercedes enjoyed, it must be a big opportunity to change that this weekend.
Yeah, it's I've not had great races here, but for sure targeting to change that. And it's been very promising beginning of the year for us as a team. But we also have to remember Monaco is a really unique circuit, and it needs different kind of things from the car to be quick. And in the past few years, we've been struggling a little bit. We've not had the quickest car here, even though we've been quick on other tracks. So for that, we are a little bit cautious, but also very motivated to kind of change that and to be performing here as well. And for sure, for sure, it's maybe tiny bit similar feeling to Charles. You know, living here, it's really unique, and it would be amazing the Grand Prix to do well.
Thank you. And Max, Red Bull traditionally has gone well here in Monaco. Are you able to threaten both Ferrari and Mercedes this weekend, do you think?
Well, I think we get into this weekend seeing, I think Mercedes is clearly the favorite. I don't think we are as good as we were last year. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm confident that we can fight for a podium, but we have to find out which step of the podium.
Thank you. And Daniel, Max referenced last year. You won here last year. Obviously, have great memories. But what's realistic for you to target this season?
I don't know yet. You know, I'm still coming here as excited as I always do. And when I say coming here, yeah, I also live here, but it's still different. You know, coming here for the race or being here for the race. The circuit transforms, and there's a different feeling in the air. And yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole atmosphere is pretty unreal. So. Yeah, I'll see where we're at tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's practice. It's Thursday here. That's a bit different as well. But yeah, obviously, quietly confident and excited, and we'll see how we go. But optimistic that we can do something good.
Thank you. And Robert, Williams has had quite a tricky car so far this season, but is Monaco still a race that you look forward to as a driver?
Well, yeah. Monaco has been always very special, approaching and coming back here after a long break. In the past already, the feeling was that the track is pretty narrow, but with current F1 cars, definitely it will be even more narrow than it was in the past, because the cars are much bigger, much wider. And so looking forward, it's always a special feeling going through those streets and driving F1 car, but definitely, our car is struggling, and normally here, whenever you struggle even more. So, but there is always something that this track is different, is unique. So hopefully it will suit better our car.
Thank you very much. And just a final topic before we open this up to the floor. This weekend is the third FIA Volunteers Weekend, celebrating those who give up their time to support motorsport events. Just wondered if I could get a message from each of you as to the importance of volunteers in motorsport. And Robert, if we start with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think most of us don't realize how many people are involved to organize this show, and in every single aspect, not only on track but off track, to help. And it's definitely, we need those people, and I would like to thank them. And normally they are very passionate people, so yeah, we need those people more than everyone else, definitely.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, it's great to see that there are so many people out there so passionate about the sport and actually willing to risk their life as well for us. So I think it's great, and yeah, I just hope that we all have a great and safe weekend.
Thank you, and Charles.
Yeah, as Max said, I think it's great to see so many people that are passionate about the sport and what they are doing for the sport. I came to see them, especially the marshals, training for this Grand Prix, which was very impressive. They are putting a lot of their time, and they are doing these things extremely seriously. So it was a great experience to see them preparing all the Grand Prix, and yeah, hopefully it will be a safe and good weekend.
Thank you, and Valtteri?
Yeah, for sure. Without them, the event would not be possible. So it's from my side, a massive thanks to them. I know I'm lucky to know a couple of them, and they've explained me what does it include and how much actually they work for it, and all the training and everything. And they are so passionate about racing. So from my side, hats off to them.
Thank you, Daniel.
this is a race where I feel they always stand out. You know, how quick they're able to collect a car or move on, and so that our session can be as less disrupted as possible. If that's the right English, I don't know. They're pretty awesome, and yeah, they do have pretty good seats here as well. Probably the best seats in the house. But no, obviously, all jokes aside, it's good that they get the recognition as well, because yeah, it's easily dismissed at times. So yeah, hats off to all them, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We'll now open this press conference up to questions from the floor. Please remember to give your name and publication for the transcript.
Dan Knudsen, Auto Action and Speed Sport. Charles, the drivers that live here say when it's not the race week, they can walk around, nobody stops them. Now you're a famous Ferrari driver. I see your photo and poster all over town. How is it now going around town, not on the race weekend?
To be honest, I think there are others famous or more famous than me drivers living in Monaco. For sure, I am Monegasque, so it's a little bit different. But I'll say that in Monaco they are quite used to it. So all year around they don't stop you that much in the city. When it comes the Grand Prix time, then it's a bit harder to go around Monaco because there's a lot of strangers coming here for the Grand Prix, and obviously they want to have pictures, etc. But during the year it's actually quite okay. But yeah, it's great to have a weekend at home. It's a city that I've been growing up in, and yeah, it's a huge honor for me to be driving in these streets. It's actually pretty weird because these are the same streets. I've said this story quite a lot of times, but it's the same streets I've taken in bus to go to school when I was 5 or 6 years old. So now to take them in a Formula 1 car feels special.
Scott Mitchell from Autosport. Charles, after 5 races, Bahrain sort of stands out as the obvious highlight for Ferrari in terms of performance. Now that you've had a couple of tests to dig into what's holding you back at other races, does Bahrain feel like a one-off, or do you feel you have a better understanding of what's stopping you from hitting those peaks at other tracks as well?
Well, I think during testing we understood a few things. Not enough, obviously, to be at the level of these guys, of Mercedes, but we understand a few things. I think we gained a little bit of time, not enough. We need to keep working. We need to try and understand what's the main issue, but the engineers are working on that.
George Bolton from The Sun. Question for Valtteri. We've heard how much of a great character Nicky was. Could you reveal your funniest story of having worked with him so closely?
Well, he was always funny, full of good sense of humor, and so direct. He always said whatever he thinks, how things are. He didn't go any different routes. He said things directly, so that made some funny situations sometimes in meetings and stuff. But I would say the best thing that will stand in my mind is for sure he was always there when I had a good result. To congrat, and you could truly see he was happy. But the main thing was when I had some bad races and difficult times, he was still always available to speak about anything and really supportive, because he's got the experience himself as a racer in life and racing, that there will be setbacks and you can really improve from those. So in that sense, that's been massive motivation for me and will stay in my mind.
Sport.com to Max. Max, you took part in 4 editions of this Grand Prix, and your best result was 5th in 2017. And now many people say you are in the best moment as a driver. Does it disturb you? Do you think to enjoy your moment to change your history in this Grand Prix?
Yeah, I mean, I've done 4. Hopefully I'll do another 20, so I have a lot of chances to have a good result.
Yeah, down front.
Max, some of us are old enough, Andrew Frankel Forza, some of us have been to Zandvoort many years ago, and obviously we're terribly excited that we're going back to Zandvoort. Will the new track be very different from the existing one?
I think in general the layout will be pretty similar, but some corners might be a bit banged, a bit shorter, a bit more space. But no, the track itself won't be changed a lot. But yeah, it's good to see that the track is coming back on the calendar after so many years. It's very close to the beach, so you can also chill at the beach after the races if you would like. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's as a driver, it's a really cool track to drive. I just hope that we can also really, have a good fight instead of just following each other throughout the race. But we'll find out.
Just a sportowy question to Robert. You're coming here in a difficult situation, but you've been here many times before. You won the Monaco Cup twice. You've been on a podium in Formula 1 twice. You've been leading Monte Carlo Rally. You won some super stages. So what are your best memories from Monte Carlo?
Well, as you said, Monaco has been always pretty good for me from very young age. So yeah, actually probably first time I have been racing here was '98 in karting, and probably this was one of the great days. But definitely finishing on the podium in F1 car, in the F1 race, also stands up. So yeah, I would say those two. But on the same time, also rally is something special. But we shouldn't be speaking about rallying here. I think there is more F1 fans and F1 journalists than rallying.
Lennart Bloemhoff, the Volkskrant. Question to all drivers. Last year, Daniel set the lap record here. With the cars getting faster each year, is it getting harder to race here in Monaco? Is the circuit getting harder?
Daniel, do you want to take that first?
Last year was pretty easy.
But is it getting harder?
For some. It's all good. I think we also grow with the cars, so yeah, I mean, I think any car, if you're pushing any car on the limit, it feels fast, whether it's a 1 minute 10 or a 1 minute 20. So I look back at the onboard lap of last year and I see places where I'm like, could be quicker here, so it's never fast enough.
Valtteri, your thoughts on the challenge of Monaco?
Yeah, for sure. Every year with the cars getting faster, it gets even more intense. But like Daniel said, we get used to the cars and the speed. And in the end, we would prefer to go still a lot quicker. But for sure, it's quick and it's going to be fun.
Charles, last year was your first experience of it. What was it like?
Yeah, I've only driven once here in Formula 1, so from Formula 2 it was a huge step up, and it really felt extremely quick. To be honest, I have in other places I have a similar feeling that I have here in qualifying. I think to be so close to the walls, and also it's a bit like a karting track, you have no rest, and this just feels amazing. Then in the race, of course, it's quite difficult to overtake. But yeah, overall, I think the quali lap is just the best moment of the weekend for me as a driver.
And Max, has it got more difficult as the cars have got quicker?
No, I would say easier because you have more grip compared to 2015 or 16, where the car was just sliding around a lot more. The only thing is, if you want to overtake with those wide cars, it's almost impossible, because if the guy just stays in the middle, then you can't really do a lot. But I guess that's why you have to make sure you do well in quali.
Thank you. Robert, you expecting a very different challenge this weekend?
Expecting definitely a unique experience, and yeah, definitely it will not be easy, but it's never easy when you are trying to bring whatever car you drive to the limit. But as everybody mentioned, more grip you have, faster you go, but also it makes things more simple in some way. But still, it's always very challenging track.
Phil Duncan, PA. Valtteri, you're obviously replacing Lewis today for this press conference. How is he? Have you had a chance to have a chat with him today?
Yeah, I saw him today, and everything was normal. I just got a request from our marketing team to be in the press conference, so that's all I know really. But he seemed okay.
Motorsport. Daniel, when we were here last year, hello, obviously it was a pretty strong performance for you all weekend. You made your mark, and I guess it's a slightly different situation coming here 12 months later. Renault's been very honest about the performance so far. When you joined the team, you were very realistic and said that you weren't expected to fight for wins this year. But 5 races in, how would you assess sort of your feelings with the move so far and sort of the changes in the background to try and improve the team's fortunes?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, it's still certainly a process. I wouldn't say I'm surprised by anything. Obviously, we would have hoped for better results than what we've currently got, and we all want that, and we're all honest enough to admit that. But as far as you said, would have been nice to get a few more 7th places as opposed to, struggling for the top 10s. But yeah, we didn't expect to be, podium contention or anything certainly not at this stage. But I still see what I saw, when I signed, as far as the input everyone's having and infrastructure still going up and yeah, I mean, motivation certainly hasn't dipped by any means. So yeah, it's going to take a bit more time, but I'm certainly trying as well and doing everything I can. And yeah, I feel that also everything I've put in has really been taken on board, and the team is certainly willing to grow and learn. And not saying it's all me, but at least my input has been, I think, quite positive. So I'm enjoying it. I really am. Obviously, I would love to get better results, but as an environment, I am enjoying it. So yeah, hopefully a little special weekend here, and it'll kick things off nicely.
They do.
Yes.
Jerome Butler, Associated Press. A couple of years ago, when Alonso made his Indy debut, everyone was extremely impressed with how well he did. Obviously, you'll know that he failed to qualify for this year. How much of a surprise is that to you? And perhaps it shows that the difficulty was a bit underestimated. We could have 2 or 3 drivers, perhaps Daniel, Valtteri, and Robert.
Daniel, do you want to go first then?
Yeah, it's. I mean, personally, because I've never done it. Driven an IndyCar or been on an oval, I don't really have a kind of I never really had an expectation for Alonso as far as I didn't know how easy or difficult it would be. Obviously, I had confidence that he would be able to hop in and be relatively competitive, because I think he's obviously a very, very good driver and very capable, and still very motivated and driven. So I think that showed, in 2017, was it? 17. But I guess as well, when this year it looks like obviously you need, you got to be, like everyone, you got to be a good driver, but set up and all those things at those margins is so important. And I don't know the ins and outs, but everything needs to work right, and that's the thing with race cars. It's a love-hate relationship. Obviously, this year for him was more of a hate one. I mean, it's sad to see. Obviously, as part of the F1 family, we want to see him do well. But yeah, for reasons I honestly couldn't understand or explain. I'm not in that world.
Valtteri?
I can't say that much because I didn't really follow. For sure, I heard that they did in qualifying, and there was some issue with some of test days and stuff like this, but to be honest, before that I didn't even knew it was happening, so not much to say.
And I think Robert, what did you
Well, not a lot to add. I would say you cannot even, or I will never comment something on what I don't know enough information, and looking poorly classification is too easy to arrive to wrong assumptions or conclusions. So Fernando, we know all that how great driver he is, and he showed 2 years ago that he was fighting there for even winning on debut. This year didn't work, but there is nothing a lot to say.
With the new cars, this corner will be crazy.
Maximilian Mendel, Mannheimer Morgen, Mr. Leclerc. how, after the hard start for Ferrari, how would you describe the atmosphere in the team?
I think quite calm, yeah, we are working all extremely hard. Obviously, the engineers are trying to understand and try to push the team forward, but overall I think we are all quite calm, which is needed. We obviously want to improve, so everyone is pushing very hard, as I said, but I think the most important is that the serenity in the team doesn't change, which it doesn't for now.
A question for Charles. Do you think that rain can help you maybe fighting Mercedes and Red Bull this weekend? And if so, how big are your chances to win your very first Grand Prix at home?
Well, I think rain, obviously Monaco is already on the dry, sometimes quite a lottery. So in the rain, I think it will add a little bit more of that. So it can go in either way. But it should be exciting if it rains. Whether it will help us or no, I don't really know. But yeah, I would like it to rain actually for qualifying to change a little bit. And in Monaco, we don't see very often the rain. So it will be nice.
A question for Max, Daniel Ortelli, F1 only. How surprised are you by the level of performance of your Honda engine since the beginning of the season? And do you think it's a good engine for this track, although it's not a track engine, an engine track?
No, I'm not really surprised because it was all just targeted, and they delivered what they promised. So just a continuous process, which is going really well, and I really enjoy working with them. They really take it all very seriously, and they're very professional. So I'm always working with a big smile on my face. And of course, we know that we still have to improve, but from both sides, not on the engine side. So yeah, we're working very closely together to try and do that. And of course, this track normally is, of course, a little bit more competitive for us.
Charles, growing up in these streets, what are your memories of watching it with your friends and probably being the most popular man in Monaco this weekend? How are your feelings and pressures coming in to this?
My first memory of the Grand Prix, I was probably about 4, something like this, and I always kept this image in my head. I was at a friend's apartment out of turn 1, playing with the small cars, watching the Grand Prix at the same time. I think Michael was in Ferrari, watching obviously more the red cars than others, and yeah, just enjoying, dreaming of being there one day. And yeah, as I've said before, it feels great to be at home.
Arjan Schouten, AD. Question for Max. A year ago here in Monaco, I think it was the location, correct me if I'm wrong, but from your last personal mistake. With everybody speaking about you, they always say after that you became more mature. How do you see for yourself?
Well, I think not only after that, I think just in general, it's life. You know, I'm getting older. General life experience, but yeah, sometimes you have to make mistakes to become a better driver. So this was one of them.
Max, got some hair on your face.
I'm still struggling.
Luis Vasconcelos from our press. Question for Valtteri. You lost at the start in the last 2 pole positions you had, and here it's clearly a place where nobody wants to lose a place at the start. Have you got to the bottom of what went wrong in Barcelona as well, and what has been done to prevent the repetition of that?
Yeah, for sure. Went through all the details and things to improve from my side and team side as usual, and yeah, we can see the cause of it. For sure, that clutch physically is out from the pool, but also there was things on the control side that in that unfortunate moment, with just being on the grip limit, allowed some hesitation and variation on the clutch torque, and we've done changes to prevent that. Hopefully will not happen again, and we move on.
Okay, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much, gentlemen. A full transcript of today's press conference will be available shortly on FIA.com.